Welcome back. Glad to see you're still alive. And hopefully you are also glad to see me alive. Except for the one or two people that probably want me dead. But you know what? It's okay. Just dislike the video. It'll help me out anyway. So, what is today's topic? Well, by the title, I suppose you can already figure that out, but we are reviewing the newly released, somewhat, Boba U4 switches from Gazzew. At least, not the prototype ones that we saw on my channel a few months ago. The full-blown release of U4 Bobas. And these live up to the hype. Sorry to spoil you, but these things definitely live up to the hype because I personally do believe that these things are game changers. Because for just under and or around 60 cents, these switches are more quiet than your market switches that probably cost upwards to maybe 75 cents to even $1 each. So the fact that these things sell for around the same prices of standard switches that aren't necessarily like the most premium, yet the most budget. So versus it's not as cheap as a Get Around Yellow from Novel Keys, but it's not as expensive as like a Zeal V2 from Zeal PC. These are in the perfect price range, and I really hope they topple the silent market and make people rethink what it means to be silent with your keyboard. But that's enough out of me. I want to explain what these are, at least what they offer versus the older generation, which we actually have up here. Up here is a old lubed U4 switch that's currently in my Varmillo. Over here is a silent tactile switch that I actually used to put in my Varmillo as well, but well, I took them out to replace them with this. And unfortunately, both of these are now antiquated because these blow them out of the water. So what we have before us today is 4 different types of, well, variations of bobas in terms of lube. So I decided to do a sound test for every single possible variation. So here is a completely stock, just put together Boba U4. This is a Boba U4 with just a spring lubed. This is a fully lubed Boba U4 with everything from the stem to the spring to the bottom housing lubed. And this is the magnum opus, I guess, with everything lubed and filmed, as you can tell by the little bit of purple streak on the bottom. So what was the problem with the previous generation of switches? Well, with polycarbonate and nylon posing a problem when it comes to silentness, Gazzew sought to fix that problem. The problem was this sort of leaf ping, kind of squeaky noise that you would hear whenever you would type on them. And this was pretty common throughout switches that were made out of PC and nylon, and which is the reason why the previous generation of silent tactiles and silent U4s are no longer being made, at least specifically in these specific housings, the super clear one and the one with the green bottom. All silent switches now sold by Gazzew, at least the ones moving forward, are just going to be sold in this Boba housing because they are a universal upgrade for every possible aspect when it comes to the U4 switches and the silent tactiles. So if you want more details, I highly suggest that you PM him. If not, just send him a message on Reddit, Discord, or hell, just even buy his switches to try them out. But what's a switch review video without me testing them, right? My Polaris 75. It is a top mount brass plated keyboard, and currently the middle is all put out. So I'm going to put all of these in a row, and I will click them without a keycap first and then click them with keycaps and sort of show off what the differences between the previous generation of switches that are no longer being made and the current generation, and how well they respond to lube and how well they actually perform without lube. So that'll be interesting. Be right back. Okay, hear me out real quick. I just finished testing this keyboard and the switches in the other room, but I realized the iPhone SE 2020 didn't really do a good job in distinguishing the different switches and made them sound like kind of shitty. So I decided to boot up OBS and use a different sort of... This is how my stream would usually look. This is how my stream would usually look. But I figured I might as well just do the test with a professional microphone over here. And, well, I mean, it does pick up sound better than the iPhone SE 2020, that's for sure. So, here... Oh, shit. It actually goes way back. Let me scoot this forward. Yoink. Okay, so God, this thing's heavy. So, if I can use something to point, but before this thing slips from my fingers, this one you see here, the first one is a silent tactile, which is antiquated. This one is a Boba. This one is a non-Boba U4. This is a completely stock Boba U4, a spring lubed Boba U4, a completely lubed Boba U4, and a lubed and filmed Boba U4. And I'm gonna do it with the keycap on after I click these, or rather press these without the keycap on first. So, without further ado, let's get pressing. Let's get this closer. Now I understand that my finger was blocking the way, but I will be putting up text in the editing so that you can understand which one is which. So, with that said, I'm gonna put on some PBT keycaps because I personally like the sound profile of silent switches under PBT because it does sound bassier when I bottom out on the plate. So these two blue keycaps will signify the antiquated previous generation silent tactiles and U4s. And, well, the rest will be white in the color of the newly produced Boba U4s. So allow me a second. Okay, here we are. We got the two, well, I might as well just put up the thing again. Here are the two previous generation silent switches, a stock U4 Boba, a spring lubed Boba U4, a completely lubed Boba U4, and a lubed and filmed Boba U4, if you forgot. And let's tap on these keycaps. Alright, that should do it. You can probably tell that the spring, or not rather spring, but leaf ping, or as I like to make fun of it, I like to call it leaf squeak. It's a lot more prevalent in the previous generation blue keycap ones, the silent tactile and the U4, but the new ones, especially when you just simply lube them, you can really hear the difference, and that is the one factor that I believe puts this switch above the majority, if not all, of the silent tactile switches on the market right now. So that's all I have for this video. I hope this was really useful because I really wanted to put this out because I've been holding out on it. I apologize to Gazzew. But in terms of buying Boba U4 switches, or perhaps even asking some questions, maybe buying a board to go along with these U4 switches, maybe even some really loud clicky switches, in which that are the Phoenix switches, which you can see right there. I suggest you head over to Gazzew's profile on Reddit and or PM him on Discord to get some conversation started and perhaps even do some business. Say hi to him for me, alright? But thanks for watching.